All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification button. Please hit all the buttons. And most of all, always hit the love button. Anyway, I want to talk about Coons. Today is about cooning. Cooning. All right. And I think everybody, there are certain situations where everybody probably has cooned. I mean, not saying that it's like an ongoing thing with everybody, but there are certain situations where you just might not agree with black people. And that's basically what I want to talk about. Sometimes we don't all agree. And then people come at you with different arguments. One of them being, well, that's the white man's way of dividing and conquering us and all of this kind of stuff. But you got to understand, there's a line that is basically drawn in the sand when this kind of stuff comes up. And basically I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith, and then somebody brought up Kamala Harris, and and I mean there's others, Ray Lewis, Jim Brown, I can't even think of that, what's that girl's name, the girl that's always on there, and and she I don't even know who she is. She ain't even nobody. I can't even recall her name. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes you have to realize, like, for example, in the case of Stephen A. Smith, we'll just use him as the example. All right. In the case of Stephen A. Smith, the fact of the matter is that we know that he's getting paid by ESPN to do what he's doing. All right. We know that's a given. It's understood. And we know that the same thing is true for basically athletes of all, because they're not going to come out and speak out against something where they know that it's going to be detrimental to their income. You're talking about, and that's a lot of other people. I know people watch my videos, and I know people, all that kind of stuff. I know because, you know that, okay, this many people didn't watch this video, and there are certain people that I know watched it or didn't watch it or whatever, but it's because they can't necessarily publicly agree with you, although maybe in their heart and in their mind, they might agree with you. All right. Or they may disagree with you. And instead of like coming out full-fledged, full blown against you, they just don't say anything, which is something I mentioned yesterday. If you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything at all. But here's the thing. When you're making, millions of dollars, you have to say what they tell you to say. That's exactly why I got out of the media. Okay. I got out of the radio business because I got tired. Well, first of all, the first thing I did was I stopped working for majority white owners. I stopped working at radio stations and television stations that had majority white owners. Why? Because they used to tell us what to say. And case in point, and I bring this up all the time, this is one of the things I always tell people. One time, I was in a meeting. And I was in a meeting with a lot of the, they flew us in someplace, and I was in a meeting with a lot of the executives from a certain radio conglomerate. And so they were talking to us about what we were going to do to program the radio stations. And because as time moved on, it moved from people programming stations locally to there being like national programming, and basically everybody is fed the same music, everybody is fed the same commercials, everybody is, it's all basically the same. So but it's controlled from one central location. And so that's basically what happened to the radio business. Well, in order for you to stay good in that particular business, all right, you had to do what they said, or else you didn't have a job. And after a while, it just started growing tired. But one thing that, and I think I might have mentioned this before in another post, but one time I'm sitting in this meeting, and this guy, he's a Caucasian, he walks in and he starts to tell us what black people like. And a lot of it was wrong, because I was like, you telling me what black people like. But the bottom line is they were trying to get these certain records played on the radio stations. And they had a financial interest in the records, which of course remained undisclosed. but they were basically trying to give us a sales pitch on why we should, because their financial future depended on these particular records getting played, because these people were going to go out on tour and they were going to be able to promote them, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, long story short, he's telling us what black people like. And so I've always pretty much been the way I am. And I'm like, you're going to tell me, okay, this black man who grew up in Detroit and, and people come from the South, my ancestors and everything come from the South, but you're going to tell me about being black. And I'm just thinking, and that, of course, it didn't sit right with me. But in order for me to keep my job, I had to go along with it. So I understand Stephen Smith. I understand Stephen A. Smith. He has to say the bad thing, because the NFL, quiet as it's kept, look, and this is another thing that a lot of people don't realize. All of those political everything. That's why Fox News is basically, it's run by the Republicans. It's run by the Republican Party. That's why all of the propaganda on there, basically, every now and then they'll give an anti-Trump story. But for the most part, all of the propaganda that you hear on there is in support of the Republican Party and conservatives. That's their target audience. That's who they want to serve. So you have to understand, a lot of times, I called Stephen A. Coon too, and whatever, because he is against, black folks when it comes down to the fact that he wants to get his paycheck. And I understand. I'm not mad at him, but I'm saying, but don't come up here and be like, I'm black too. Okay, yeah, you're black too, but the bottom line is that you're not saying what most black people are thinking and you're not doing what most black people would do in that situation. Anytime we always get these people that speak on behalf, so supposedly, just like Kanye West. Like, Kanye West don't speak for black people. He doesn't. Most black people think Kanye West is crazy or a fool. And all of these people that are out here that are getting, and the other thing is, you have to understand, all of the Jesus is King propaganda and all of that kind of stuff, that's church propaganda. That's why he had to go to Joel Osteen. That's why he went there. He didn't go, he tried going to Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant let him in the church, and then later on told him, basically was like, look, I'll let you in the church, but I'm giving your money back and you are cool. That's basically what he did. So he stopped trying to go to the black pastors. Now he done bought some land in the middle of Wyoming. Who black goes to the middle of Wyoming? Come on, y'all. I'm just saying, think. All of this stuff is propaganda. It's just to make you follow somebody. And then I read the story about Puffy and Byron Allen. And Puffy, after a while, he started to feel the same way, because and I wrote on there, what I wrote was, I said, the people that you think have money don't have the power to even use the money. Because we don't own nothing and we're not in control of anything. Even though you even though you might have $1 billion or $500 million, but if you don't own it and you don't control it, guess what? It don't matter. And that's what this whole Supreme Court case is about. A lot of people think that it's about, they think that it's about, oh, he just won all this money. No, it's about that Civil Rights Act, of 1866, giving us equal opportunity, economic inclusion, economic opportunity. And see, that's why when all of this stuff goes down, all of this stuff, and that's why I tried to break it down yesterday, even about what went on with Stephen A. Smith, because it's not about, it ain't about Colin Kaepernick and trying to, like I said, they spin it all different kinds of ways because it's propaganda. It's spin. You heard of that group called the Spin Doctors? They take stuff, they spin it around, so they make you think that it's something else going on, but really all it is to distract you from the real deal. Well, the real deal is that the NFL supports police brutality, which I said yesterday. That's the real deal. And Colin Kaepernick came out against it and said, look, y'all support Y'all support white supremacy. Y'all support racism. Y'all support all of this. And even, even with the national anthem is a racist song. Let's start off there. That national anthem in and of itself is racist. And then I got to stand up, put my hand over my heart and pledge allegiance to a flag that don't even like me, don't even care about me, and is going and would take me out in a heartbeat. Like look at some of this stuff that's going on. And that's what I'm saying. So stop being clouded by the stuff that they like throw out there. Stephen A is a hired hand. He's a hired gun. That's all he is. Just like, and I one of my dear friends, and I talked to him about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is a hired gun. She's no better than she did no better than what Ronald Reagan did in the 80s. I'm going to be, all politicians in the 80s and the early 90s, what did they run on? The whole campaign was, I'm going to be tough on crime. And tough on crime, when you say I'm going to be tough on crime, you know what it translates to? I'm going to lock up black and brown men and women. That's what that translates to. I'm going to lock up all the black folks and all the Latino folks so that good white folks can walk around safe. Say it. Just say it. That's the truth. That is the truth. And people, remember the Willie Horton thing and all of that stuff, that's what won Ronald Reagan the election. Walking around and they've been using it ever since. The same thing with the whole, even with this tax cuts and all that kind of stuff, trickle down economics. So they give all the money to the rich people. That's what this tax cut was. After the tax cut passed and Trump went into that ballroom, what did he say? He told all his rich friends, I just made y'all richer. Which means translate that I made everybody else poorer. Stop. For real. Stop and start thinking. And the other thing is, and what is the definition of insanity is to keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. That's why we got to speak up. Whether you're black, brown, red, green, yellow, whatever color you are, when there's things that are being done that are injustices, we all got to speak up, even if we're speaking against a black person. It hurts me. It hurts me that I got to speak against people like that. It does. I wish they were, and they probably are already woke. They probably know, but they want that money. It's people that sell out. It's a bunch of sellouts out there. I realized that in the radio and television game. It was people that would take your job in a heartbeat if they could. Why? Because they wanted that money, or they wanted that fame, or they wanted that opportunity. And they didn't care. They didn't care who they sold out. They just wanted to be there, in the spotlight. And then and it's just like what Puffy realized. Puffy realized that he had been used, and it's like, I'm used, but I still don't have no power. I done draw all of these kids to y'all. Y'all have sold millions upon millions of records and products and everything else, television shows, all this kind of stuff. And they done literally made billions and billions and billions of dollars, and yet and still he has no power. See, because money and power are two different things. They're not the same thing. I'm just telling you, they not the same thing. And guess what? People with power don't give a damn about your money. That's why Colin Kaepernick, that's why they didn't give him no job. They could have easily gave him a job. They could have gave him, I'm telling you. And they don't care about black people because they don't even care whether or not you give them their money, your money or not. If y'all really seriously organized and boycotted all the people like Fox News and Fox Sports and the NFL and all of the people that make a concerted effort to try to persecute you, you would see change. But you ain't gonna see no change like it is now. Like button, subscribe button, And if it comes to the NFL, hit that off button, love button.